Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Turkish ebook before it's gone. Most people who learn a foreign language learn it so that they can one day have real-life conversations with native speakers. When you start out learning and crack open your first textbook or listen to your first podcast, having a real conversation can feel like a fantasy. When everything about a language feels new, it can be overwhelming. But this couldn't be further from the truth. While it does take a significant amount of time and effort to become fluent, having a conversation might not be as far off as you think. In this video, we'll look at 3 ways you can boost your conversational skills and start talking to native speakers. Number 1. Find native speakers and practice with them. It's unlikely you live near a big group of native speakers to practice with. If you happen to be in a major or international city, your chances may be better. Check and see if your city has a general language exchange. Chances are there could be a native speaker there who is also trying to learn another language. Practicing in person with a native speaker is probably the most interesting option for honing your speaking skills. But if you can't find anyone where you live, the next best option is to look online. Luckily for language learners, the past 10 years or so have seen an explosion in online language exchange sites. On these websites, you can search for someone who is a native speaker of your target language and is also learning your native language. The idea behind a language exchange is that you communicate with them via video or text chat, and half of the time, they help you practice your target language. And for the other half, you help them practice theirs. Practicing via an online language exchange is a highly effective way to practice your conversational skills. Number 2. Work on pronunciation. Pronunciation is often an overlooked skill when it comes to learning a foreign language. Most people think of a good foreign accent as a luxury rather than a necessity. But what most people don't talk about is how having a good accent boosts your listening and comprehension skills. If you can hear a sound from a foreign language and know how to make it yourself, then you're more likely to understand native speakers when they talk at normal speed, and you're also more likely to remember any new words or phrases you come across. Having a good accent means that the language no longer sounds foreign. Instead, it sounds familiar, maybe even natural. So how do you go about perfecting your accent? The best way is to break down the language into its individual sounds. Make note of any sounds that are the same or similar to your native language and of those that are different. Of the sounds that are different, spend your time practicing the ones that you find the hardest to say correctly. After you're comfortable with the individual sounds, you can start linking together words and phrases. This is where accent practice starts to get really fun and interesting. Get your hands on some native speaker audio from a TV show, song, or podcast. Play the audio back and listen closely a few times. Take note of how words blend together in speech. Then, do your best to imitate what you hear, trying to match the speaker's emphasis and intonation. Our language learning program's playback feature is perfect for this. Record yourself and compare it to the original recording. Rinse and repeat until you're comfortable with the audio selection, and then move on to something more difficult. This is how you can break through the accent barrier and really start to make the language your own. Number 3. Learn phrases, not just individual words. Learning grammar and individual words is great, but it's not the only approach you should take if you want to speak fluently. In addition to your regular grammar and vocabulary, try learning whole phrases, even if you aren't totally sure how they work grammatically. Learn phrases that are specific to your needs. It's a good idea to learn phrases that are grouped around a certain setting or subject, such as simple greetings or introductions, questions for getting to know someone, or traveling comfortably. You can even learn filler phrases, which you can use so that you have something to say when, well, you don't know what to say. Learning phrases like this will help you become conversational faster. You may not understand what you're saying literally, but as long as you know the general meaning behind the phrase and know when to use it, you'll be able to talk like a native. Eventually, your knowledge of grammar and vocabulary should catch up with the phrases you know. Learning a new language should feel like an adventure. There will be plateaus and periods in your learning where it feels like you're hitting a wall, but being able to speak with native speakers and have real conversations will help you combat language fatigue. After all, talking to someone face-to-face in a foreign language is one of the main reasons we start learning in the first place. And for even more ways to gain conversation skills, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Herkese merhaba. Welcome to turkishclass101.com. Ben Seda. Nasılsınız? Her şey yolunda mı? Okay, today we will talk about top 10 fast food in Turkey. Okay, I have other videos where I talk about Turkish food. You can check it out in the channel. But before I start with the content, I need to explain something. Turkish cuisine is pretty rich, and we have so many variety of food when it comes to food choices, and from vegan to vegetarian, from fast and to slow cooked meals. And this is not because of the modern food trends where, for example, in the US you see different types of diets and restaurants align with these diet culture. But it's not like that in Turkey. This is our normal. We normally have a variety of food. You wouldn't see fast food stores like vegetarian stores, things like that, but you'll definitely find any type of food you prefer. Of course, foreign brands like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, blah blah blah are also available in Turkey, but I'm strictly talking about Turkish food here. And also in big cities there are all kinds of restaurants but the food I will be talking about will be the ones you can find everywhere in Turkey, even in small villages. Okay, enough with the intro, let's get started, okay? Okay, one more thing. You may be surprised not to see certain types of food in the lists. For example, döner, because I talk about those in top 10 street foods. So street foods are fundamentally fast food. So I didn't want to repeat myself, so I choose different foods. And you can check the other video for the street foods, okay? Okay, the first one in our list is köfte ekmek. Köfte ekmek. Köfte, it's a meatball, and Turkish cuisine has a rich variety of meatballs. But there's one type, we call it tükürük köftesi. Tükürük köftesi. I will translate this, don't get shocked. It is a spit, saliva meatball. It's an urban legend that the chef, which is generally a guy with it outside the street with a grill stand, spits his hands to be quick with making the meatballs. That's not the case, of course, hopefully. I hope so. Somehow, those outside grilled meatballs are always the most delicious ones. This is a street flavor that creates long queues with smell rising from the grill in front of the stadium after a football match or the exit of a concert, something like that. I remember we had a stand across my school when I was like 8, 9, and sometimes we would go out and buy it for lunch. Oh my god, that was so tasty, the best meatball ever. So basically this is a grilled meatball inside a fresh Turkish bread and some greens and onions in it. You should definitely try if you see one. Okay, the number 2 is ıslak burger. Islak burger. This you can translate as wet burger. It is like a regular burger, but they dip the crispy buns in some kind of garlicky tomato sauce, so it's wet. And it is served to you like hot and dripping. It drips literally. And they sell this in buffet type of restaurants, like buffet restaurants. And this buffet types of restaurants generally are very small and always sell fast food. You can grab your food and go, or just sit outside on a small table or a high chair. Anyway, the most famous ıslak burger is in Taksim region of Istanbul. You should try if you go to Taksim. Okay, number three is dürüm. Dürüm is like a Turkish wrap or burrito. It can be vegan or meat wrap, chicken, lamb, beef served inside the dürüm. And sometimes you can find çiğ köfte dürüm as well. And they put the main ingredient and then some greens and onions and lavash bread. Lavash bread is very thin, flat bread, and dürüm is very common fast food that you can find anywhere, literally. Anyway, the number 4 is lahmacun. Lahmacun. You can say this is a Turkish pizza, although they make the vegan version of lahmacun. The real deal is with the red mince meat. The very name of lahmacun is coming from Arabic, meaning a dough mixed with meat, so you get the picture. Anyway, this dish is very thin, flat and crispy. It's quickly made and served with lemon, some greens and onions, and sometimes tomatoes. And I noticed we add onions everywhere. Anyhow, you add the greens and tomatoes and squeeze the lemon on, and you roll it like a wrap like this, then eat it like a burrito with your hands like that. So you got to try that on your next trip to Turkey. Okay, number 5 is menemen. Menemen is an egg dish actually, and generally a breakfast item, but it also eaten as a quick lunch dish. It is basically scrambled eggs cooked softly with onions, peppers, paprika and some herbs. And generally most restaurants have menemen on their menu, so it is fast and tasty dish. The number 6 is pide. This is also kind of a pizza. We can say it's a Turkish patty, and it's made like patties from a well-kneaded dough, and it can have a different ingredient in the middle. It can be with cheese, with meat, with cheese and meat, with pastırma, beef, bacon and so on. And all the kebab restaurants have this dish, kebapçı. You should try. Pide is one of the best. And number 7 is meze. This one is different than all the others because it's not like one dish. Meze is the name of a dish type. Meze is like appetizers. Especially when you drink rakı, you order a lot of meze before the main dish or in the fish restaurants. And meze has so many varieties, and they are pre-cooked, cold dish, generally cold, so they are fast. You can just eat them without ordering anything. You don't feel heavy on your stomach, so you can ask for more than one serving of this dish without thinking much, and it's very healthy. From vegan to fish-based mezes, you'll have a variety of options. And the 8th one is çorba. Çorba, soup. This is basically soup. I know it doesn't sound like fast food, but it's a fast food for us. This is very basic, but a very common Turkish fast food. As I said, every restaurant has a daily soup in their menu. Generally one of these. The ezogelin, mercimek, domates. Ezogelin is a mix with lentil and bulgur, and domates soup is like tomato soup, and mercimek is like lentil. And they are generally very cheap, very healthy, and very fast. And we have so many other varieties, and Turkish people, I think, love their soup. You should definitely try. Either, any type of soup will be perfect. We even have soup restaurants, just soups. Okay, the next one is gözleme. Gözleme is a fast food which is similar to a crepe. It's a flat bread that is filled with cheese, meat, potatoes, some vegetables inside. It's cooked on gözleme sacı, something like a waffle plate, but it's big and actually very fun to watch it when it's getting cooked. In some places, you see women on the floor opening the dough and cooking gözleme on that plate. Anyhow, the last one, the 10th one is piliç çevirme. Piliç çevirme. This is basically a rotisserie chicken. You can buy the whole chicken cooked. It doesn't even have to be a restaurant. Sometimes the butchers sell it cooked, you know. They have special ovens for the chicken with long sticks, and they put the chickens on the sticks and slowly cook it. And you see a lot of chickens side by side, and you just order one, and they wrap the whole chicken or half the chicken or less than half, I don't know how much you want, and then they wrap it and you take the chicken home and you eat it, or you take the chicken with you and you eat it. It's slowly cooked. These rotisserie chickens are slowly cooked, but since they have a lot of slowly cooked ready to take chickens on the special ovens, it is a fast food, but it's healthy. Okay, this was our top 10 list, and I don't know if you tried one of these. What did you think about these, or which one would you like to try? Leave some comments and I will see you next time. Görüşürüz. Hoşça kalın.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.
Merhaba. Hello. Our first word is merhaba, meaning hello. We use merhaba, for example, when we are being introduced to someone else. After say, for example, we are introduced and we say merhaba. When we say the H between the R and A is lost. Merhaba. Nice to meet you. Merhaba.
Günaydın. Good morning.
Our second word is günaydın, meaning good morning. We always use it, of course, in the mornings. Günaydın.
İyi günler. Good afternoon.
Our third word is iyi günler, meaning good afternoon.
İyi geceler. Good night.
Our fourth word is iyi geceler, meaning good night. İyi geceler. This is how I sound when I say iyi geceler. İyi geceler.
Adın ne? What's your name?
Our fifth word is adın ne? What's your name? Büşra, what's yours?
Ben. I am.
Our sixth word is ben, meaning I'm. For example, I am Büşra. Büşra'yım.
Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Nice to meet you.
Our seventh word is tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Meaning nice to meet you. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. This is how it sounds when I don't slow it down.
Nasılsın? How are you?
Our eighth word is nasılsın, meaning how are you? It goes like nasılsın?
İyiyim. Sen nasılsın? I'm fine. And you?
Our ninth word is iyiyim. Sen nasılsın? I'm fine. And you?
Lütfen. Please.
Our tenth word is lütfen, meaning please. It goes like lütfen, lütfen, lütfen, lütfen. No, it doesn't go like that. Lütfen.
Teşekkür ederim. Thank you.
Our 11th word is teşekkür ederim, meaning thank you. You can also say teşekkürler if you want to shorten it. Teşekkürler.
Rica ederim. You are welcome.
Our 12th word is rica ederim, meaning you are welcome. Rica ederim.
Evet. Yes.
Our 13th word is evet, meaning yes.
Hayır. No.
Our 14th word is hayır, meaning no.
Tamam. Okay.
Our 15th word is tamam, meaning okay.
Affedersiniz. Excuse me.
Our 16th word is affedersiniz, meaning excuse me.
Özür dilerim. I'm sorry.
Our 17th word is özür dilerim, meaning I'm sorry.
Saat kaç? What time is it?
Our 18th word is saat kaç? What time is it? Saat kaç?
Banyo nerede? Where is the restroom?
Our 19th word is banyo nerede? Where is the restroom?
Dur bir dakika. Wait a moment.
Our 20th word is dur bir dakika, meaning wait a moment.
Bu ne kadar? How much is this?
Our 21st word is bu ne kadar, meaning how much is this?
Hesap lütfen. Check please.
Our 22nd word is hesap lütfen. Check please.
Tebrikler. Congratulations.
Our 23rd word is tebrikler, meaning congratulations.
Görüşürüz. See you later.
Our 24th word is görüşürüz, meaning see you later.
Güle güle. Goodbye.
Our 25th word is güle güle, meaning goodbye.
Garson. Garson. Waiter, waitress. The first one is garson. Waiter or waitress. Bu restoranın garsonları çok nazik. Bu restoranın garsonları çok nazik. The waiters in this restaurant are very kind. So in Turkish, we don't have two different words. For waiter or waitress, we just say garson. So the name of the job. If you want to call a boy or girl, I mean the waiter or waitress, you can just say garson. And in Turkish, we call like this usually. Pardon, bakar mısınız? Garson bey, bakar mısınız? It's like, hello, excuse me. Can you look to me? Like that. Yemek. Yemek. To eat. The next one is yemek. To eat. Kırmızı et yemiyorum. Kırmızı et yemiyorum. I don't eat red meat. So it's a very basic word, but it's important to know if you're going to a Turkish restaurant. What if you have an allergy, right? Or what if you're vegetarian? Then you need to know the eat, to eat word. So you can say you don't eat or you have allergy. Kırmızı et yemiyorum. Or let's say you don't eat egg. Egg is yumurta. Yumurta yemiyorum. If you want to say I am vegetarian in Turkish, you can say like this. Ben vejetaryenim. Ben vejetaryenim. Kırmızı et yemiyorum. I don't eat red meat. Sipariş vermek. Sipariş vermek. To order. Sipariş vermek. To order. Pasta sipariş ettim. Pasta sipariş ettim. I ordered a cake. It's very funny actually because I know in English pasta means like macaroni, right? But in Turkish it means cake. So it was always very confusing for me when I was learning English. We are using for describing cake or like some kind of sweet, like birthday cake. We are saying pasta. And sipariş etmek means order. You can use it with other foods too. Usually people are ordering pizza to their home, right? You can say, pizza sipariş ettim. Or if you want to ask your friend, should we order pizza? Then you can say, pizza sipariş edelim mi? Pizza sipariş edelim mi? Su. Su. Water. Su. Water. Bir bardak soğuk su alabilir miyim? Bir bardak soğuk su alabilir miyim? Can I have a glass of cold water? Usually in Turkish restaurants, the water is not free, so you have to pay money for it. And please be careful if you're ordering water because you may thought maybe in your country it's free, but it's not free in Turkey. But in Turkey, in most restaurants, not all of them, in most restaurants, the Turkish tea is free, black tea is free, and it usually comes after your meal. They just bring you or they ask you, should we bring black tea? Should we bring Turkish tea for you? And it's usually free. But I'm not saying for all of them, but most of them. Tatlı. Tatlı. Dessert. Tatlı. Dessert. Bu tatlının yanında bir fincan kahve iyi gider. Bu tatlının yanında bir fincan kahve iyi gider. A cup of coffee would be great with this dessert. Usually in Turkey, people like to drink Turkish coffee. And with Turkish coffee, we usually eat whether Turkish delight, or recently we started to eat chocolate, like Turkish brand chocolate or any other brand. So in Turkish, we say like this: Türk kahvesinin yanında lokum iyi gider. I said, Turkish delight goes well with Turkish coffee. Chef, chef, chief, chef, chief. Bu restoranın şefi çok yetenekli. Bu restoranın şefi çok yetenekli. This restaurant's chief is very talented. Okay, you've finished your meal in the Turkish restaurant and you really liked it. Now you want to say good words, you want to give good feedback to the restaurant. Then you can use this sentence, right? It's a good sentence to know, I think. Bu restoranın şefi çok yetenekli. Yemekler çok lezzetliydi. It means the food was very delicious. Yemekler çok lezzetliydi. Fast food. Fast food. Fast food. Fast food. Fast food. Çocuklarımın fast food yemesine izin vermem. Çocuklarımın fast food yemesine izin vermem. I don't let my children eat fast food. We are using the English word as it is, fast food. But our pronunciation is not like English, of course. It's a bit different. It's like fast food. Well, we have actually other Turkish words. It is rather abur cubur. It's more like snacks, I think. Abur cubur or hazır yiyecekler, which means instant food. Hazır yiyecekler. We are using these two for describing fast food sometimes. Abur cubur, hazır yiyecekler, or fast food as it is. It's also okay. Restoran. Restoran. Restaurant. Restoran. Restaurant. Bu sokaktaki ev yemekleri restoranına sık sık giderim. Bu sokaktaki ev yemekleri restoranına sık sık giderim. I go to the home-style food restaurant on the street very often. I go to the home-style food restaurant on the street very often. In Turkish, we have this type of restaurant because most people, especially people who live alone, they are missing their mother's food so much, right? So that is why there are so many home-style food restaurants all over Turkey. They are cooking like foods like that reminds you your mother food. Very home-cooked Turkish meals. Not like kebab, maybe. Not like Turkish pizza. Really like Turkish food. Hesap. Hesap. Check. Hesap. Check. Hesap lütfen. Hesap lütfen. Check please. Do you know how to describe the waiter that you want check without saying any word? So we are using our body language in this case to tell the waiter that we want to pay the check. And it's like this. Now I'm going to show you. Hesap lütfen. Like this. Lezzetli. Lezzetli. Delicious. Lezzetli. Delicious. Çok lezzetli görünüyor. Çok lezzetli görünüyor. It looks very delicious. Now your meal is here. It's still hot. And it looks really awesome. Then that time you will say, çok lezzetli görünüyor. I want to eat it. Crossing borders. Sınırı geçmek. Border, sınır. Geçmek, crossing. Sınırı geçmek. Uyruk. Nationality. For example, you go to police station and police can ask you, what is your nationality? Uyruğunuz nedir? But there's also one more word, milliyet. Actually, anyone can ask you like, milliyetin nedir? I think it's not widely used compared to uyruk, but both are okay. Gümrük. Customs. When you're going to a country, you have to go through the customs. Bir ülkeye giriş yaparken gümrükten geçmek zorundasınız. Vize. Visa. Japan doesn't require visa from Turkish people for 3 months. Japonya, Türklerden 3 aya kadar vize talep etmiyor. Vergisiz. Tax free. Tax free shopping. Yay! If you bring your passport to some stores, then you can do tax free shopping. Bazı mağazalara pasaportunuzu götürürseniz vergisiz alışveriş yapabilirsiniz. Pasaport. Passport. Can you show your passport? Pasaportunuzu gösterir misiniz? In Turkey, usually passports are dark red, but we have different types of passports. For example, we have green passport. So with green passport, you can easily enter into some countries without visa. Yeşil pasaport, we say. Green passport.
Herkese merhaba. Ben Seda. Hoş geldiniz. Welcome to Turkish Class 101.com. Nasılsınız? Today we will talk about family culture in Turkish. Aile kültürü. Okay, first, today I will start a little differently. Before talking about the culture, I will give you some idioms, some sentences about family to give you a gist of how we perceive family, okay? Etle tırnak ayrılmaz. Etle tırnak ayrılmaz. You cannot separate nail and cuticle. This means like siblings are like nail and cuticles, and it doesn't matter how hard they fight, They are destined to be together. Another one. Cennet anaların ayakları altındadır. Cennet anaların ayakları altındadır. Heaven is under the feet of mothers. This glorifies motherhood, as you can guess. Another one. This is an interesting one. Let me check. Baş kırılır, börk içinde kalır. Kol kırılır, yen içinde kalır. Baş kırılır, börk içinde. Kol kırılır, yen içinde. This is a little harder to translate. It means when you have a problem in the family, you don't talk about it outside the family. It's like a mafia in Italian movies. Anyway, it literally means if you break your head, it stays in the Turkic traditional head. And if you break your arm, it stays in the fur. So nobody sees it, that you broke somewhere. As you can see, it is from nomadic Turkish times. Now people only say kol kırılır, yen içinde kalır. And I don't think a lot of Turkish people know what yen and börk is. These are not regular daily life vocabulary. Börk is a traditional Turkic hat from before the Ottoman times actually. And yen is a coat made of animal fur while they were hunting and blah blah blah. And I think these were to give you an idea of traditional Turkish family matters. I will explain further. However, I have to say these will be generalizations. Everybody is different and there are all kinds of families out there. We have 80 million people living in this country. And with modern life, I think all families around the world look very similar to each other, like having less kids, commuting between work and home, dealing with modern day life, adopting animals, living in smaller apartments, and so on. Okay, now let's start. Yasa, law. Yasa. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Anayasasına göre aile Türk toplumunun temelidir. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Anayasasına göre aile Türk toplumunun temelidir ve eşler arasında eşitliğe dayanır. According to the Constitution of Republic of Turkey, the family is the foundation of Turkish society and is based on equality between spouses. The civil law got updated years ago about equality between spouses. Before this update, the husband was seen as the head of the household. But right now, both spouses are equal in every aspect of marriage legally. Türk aile yapısı. Turkish family structure. Türk aile yapısı. For Turkish people, family is still the most important social institution. Although divorce rates are getting higher and higher, traditional family structure are still the basis of society. Sorry. In rural areas, large families are more common. What I mean is like families are more crowded with more kids and aunts, uncles, grandparents all living together. But in big cities, generally families are made of like kids and parents. Okay? Saygı, respect. Saygı. There's a Turkish series called Saygı. Aile büyüklerine saygı Türkler için çok önemlidir. Aile büyüklerine saygı Türkler için çok önemlidir. Respect to elders are very important to Turkish people. Married couples move out to start their own families in their separate houses in big cities especially, but they do take care of their parents in old age. Old age houses, yaşlı bakım evleri, they are not very common in Turkey. We have some, of course, but generally, families take care of each other through thick and thin. And this is actually both ways. Parents of young adults also help out the new couple, sometimes by cooking for them, cleaning for them, taking care of grandchildren, even helping out with money and other stuff. I mean, in general, family bonds are very strong and always there, and moving out doesn't change much. Okay, the next title is Ailedeki roller. Roles of family members. Ailedeki roller. Generally, the family lives close to each other, and that's how they help each other out. And although the traditional families, there are gender-based roles, in younger generations, these roles fade away. In younger generations, both man and woman work so that they earn their own money, and they spend it together, they raise their kids together, and although it's much more equal from the previous generations, taking care of the kids and the house is generally on the woman. And sometimes even though the woman also has a full-time job, she also takes care of the house and the children. So there's a long way to accomplish full equality between genders in real life. And in more traditional families, the husband is the breadwinning member of the home, and while the woman takes care of the household and the children. And in most traditional houses, even the girls in the family are treated different than the boys, where boys have more freedom. As I said before, modern lifetimes has made changes in traditional family culture. Women participate more in economic activities outside the home, but unfortunately, as I stated before, this has added extra burden on the woman, and not all men helps out with the domestic chores, so woman has to do it all. Hopefully this will get better in the future with each new generation. Bayramlar, seyranlar, feasts. We talked about this before. Even though we have different religions in Turkey, most people are Muslim, and religious Muslim holidays are celebrated very similar. We have two religious holidays, bayrams, Ramazan and Kurban. Although there are differences in celebration of these festivals, religiously, culturally they are celebrated very, very similar, I think, in every home, with a huge bayram meal, visiting relatives, visiting parents, visiting grandparents, and enjoying each other's company. Akrabalar, relatives. Turkish people are very into relatives. I don't know how to explain this, but we have lots and lots of relatives, cousins and cousins and cousins, and all relatives from both sides, the fathers and the mothers, are considered as part of the family. And it's not uncommon to have like dozens of uncles, aunts, cousins all together. And let me give you some vocabulary on the family members. Kuzen, cousin, kuzen, kuzen. Kuzenimi çok seviyorum. I love my cousin very much. Kuzenimi çok seviyorum. Kuzenimi çok seviyorum. Amca, amca, paternal uncle. We have different uncles, paternal, maternal. Paternal uncle, amca. Amcam babamdan kısa. My paternal uncle is shorter than my father. Amcam babamdan kısa. Dayı, maternal uncle. Dayı. Benim dayım yok. I don't have a maternal uncle. Benim dayım yok. Teyze, maternal aunt. Teyze, anne yarısıdır. Maternal aunt is half of a mother. Teyze, anne yarısıdır. This is actually an idiom, by the way. It's people say this. Teyze annenin yarısıdır. Hala, paternal aunt. Hala, hala, hala. Halam Amerika'dan geliyor. My paternal aunt is coming from US. Halam Amerika'dan geliyor. Okay, let's keep going. This one is sometimes weird to people from Western world, but display of affection between family members is very common. We are like touchy people, we hug, we kiss, we ask, we question, and like Turkish people can be found too much involved. And we love to ask about family, even in business meetings. So don't feel weird if you are like talking business with a Turkish person and get asked about your spouse or kids or parents even. And you can get asked if you think about marrying or having kids or about your parents, and this is normal. Talking about family is like a conversation starter for us. So don't get offended or something like that. Just answer as much as you want. Okay, food. Food. Yemek. Food is part of our culture. I think most of the cultures. But even the food culture is maybe a little different than the Western countries, a little. Even in younger generations, cooking at home is very common. We love home-cooked meals and we are ready to prepare it. If a newly couple is very busy working outside home, their parents can help out with the cooking. Of course, eating out or ordering in is an option, but it's more like a special occasion than a daily, regular activity. This is not the way we eat generally. As I said before, these are generalizations, but mostly true. Okay, I'm done for now. We have different videos about weddings, funerals, holidays, food and stuff. And you can get the idea of Turkish society by watching them all. So what do you think? Which parts are similar to your culture or very different than yours? And tell your nationality and write about your own culture in the comments. I love seeing comments from all over the world. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time. Görüşmek üzere, hoşça kalın. Kendinize iyi bakın.
Your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.
Selam, ben Zehra. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Hi, I'm Zehra. Nice to meet you. In this series, we are going to learn basic Turkish expressions. It's super easy and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to introduce yourself in Turkish. You can do it with only 2 sentences. But first, it is important to clarify that in Turkish, there is a difference between the formal and the informal language. Let's first see how Turkish people introduce themselves in an informal situation. Selam, ben Zehra. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Hi, I'm Zehra. Nice to meet you. Selam, ben Zehra. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Start by saying selam, ben. Then say your name. Selam, ben Zehra. Finally, say tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. Nice to meet you. Selam, ben Zehra. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. And now, let's see the same sentence in formal speech. Merhaba, ben Zehra Özdemir. Tanıştığımıza çok memnun oldum. Hi, I'm Zehra Özdemir. Nice to meet you. Merhaba, ben Zehra Özdemir. Tanıştığımıza çok memnun oldum. So, what has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a close look at this together. Selam has been substituted with the formal greeting, merhaba. Turkish for hi. Ben Zehra hasn't been changed. In both cases, ben means I am. However, during a formal self-introduction, we also say our last name. So I said Zehra Özdemir. Here you would say your full name. Finally, pay attention to the ending. We went from tanıştığımıza memnun oldum to tanıştığımıza çok memnun oldum. We have just added the Turkish word for very. In a formal sentence, saying it is very nice to meet you will make it even more polite. One more time. The informal way to introduce yourself in Turkish is Selam, ben Zehra. Tanıştığımıza memnun oldum. The formal way to introduce yourself is Merhaba, ben Zehra Özdemir. Tanıştığımıza çok memnun oldum. Now, it's time for Zehra's insights. When you introduce yourself, it's a good habit to shake hands. And don't worry too much about using çok when you meet with people. You won't get in trouble if you simply say, tanıştığımıza memnun oldum, as I said at the beginning of this lesson. In the last lesson, we learned how to show gratitude to people by saying teşekkürler. In this lesson, we will learn some of the most common greetings used in Turkey. Hazır mısınız? Are you ready? Hadi başlayalım o zaman. So let's start then. The most used informal greeting is selam. Selam. Selam means hi or hello. Because it's so casual, we should only use this greeting with friends or relatives. If you're greeting someone you don't know, you should use a more formal phrase. Merhaba. Merhaba. Merhaba means hi or hello too. If you want to make the greeting a little bit more formal, you can say iyi günler. İyi günler. İyi günler means good morning and good afternoon. In fact, you can use it all day, from morning until evening. During the evening, we say iyi akşamlar. İyi akşamlar. In an informal parting situation, Turkish people use güle güle. Güle güle. Güle güle means goodbye. Finally, in Turkish, we have an expression meaning hope to see you soon. That can be considered both formal and informal. Görüşmek üzere. Görüşmek üzere. Now you can greet people in many different ways in Turkish. Let's review them all again. When meeting older people or someone we don't know, merhaba. When meeting friends or relatives, selam. When greeting people from morning to afternoon, iyi günler. When greeting people in the evening, iyi akşamlar. When living in an informal situation, güle güle. When living in a formal or an informal situation, görüşmek üzere. It's easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Zehra's insights. If you can't remember how to say goodbye in Turkish, you can just say bye bye. Bye, bye. This expression is pretty casual, but at least nobody in Turkey will have any trouble understanding you. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Turkish. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Turkish, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're saying, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal way to say it. İngilizce konuşabiliyor musun? İngilizce konuşabiliyor musun? In Turkish, verbs change depending on the pronoun that is used. Please notice the suffix musun at the end of the sentence. This is the informal word for you. The word before that is the verb konuşabiliyor, which means can speak. Because it is referring to you, it is conjugated konuşabiliyor musun? And you probably recognize the first word İngilizce. It means English. İngilizce konuşabiliyor musun? To learn how to conjugate verbs in more detail, please check out our Absolute Beginner series on turkishclass101.com. You can find very detailed grammar lesson and resources there. We are now going to make this sentence bit formal. First, we need to use the formal version of you. Just take musun and add a us sound at the end to make musunuz. Everything else stays the same. İngilizce konuşabiliyor musunuz? İngilizce konuşabiliyor musunuz? If you add affedersiniz, excuse me, to the beginning, the sentence becomes even more polite. Affedersiniz. İngilizce konuşabiliyor musunuz? Affedersiniz. İngilizce konuşabiliyor musunuz? The responses you will receive could be one of these three. Evet. Yes. Evet. Biraz. A little. Biraz. Hayır. İngilizce konuşamıyorum. No, I can't speak English. Hayır. İngilizce konuşamıyorum. Now, it's time for Zehra's insights. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Turkish people study other European languages at school, so maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute İngilizce with İtalyanca for Italian, Rusça for Russian, İspanyolca for Spanish, or Almanca for German. In the last lesson, we learned some words used when apologizing in Turkish, including affedersiniz and özür dilerim. In this lesson, we are going to learn numbers in Turkish. Yes, numbers, sayılar, from 1 to 10. And you're going to learn them only in 3 minutes, 3 dakika. Are you ready? Let's start then. 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 5 5 6 6 7 7 8 8 9 9 and finally 10 10. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Great job! What is before bir? Do you know? Let's find out then. Ready? Sıfır. Sıfır. You don't have any more excuses. You can give your friends your cell phone number in Turkish. Let's try together. We will use the phrase benim numaram, which means my number is benim numaram. Benim numaram 5 3 3 1 2 2 4 9 6 8. Can you read it by yourself? 5 3 3 1 2 2 4 9 6 8. Perfect. In the last lesson, we learn how to count in Turkish. I hope you spend some time practicing the numbers because they will come in handy today. We're going to learn how to go shopping in Turkey. Before we go, you need to know how to say, how much is it? Bu kaç para? Bu kaç para? Are you ready to go to shopping in Turkey? Let's go! You see something you like and want to ask the shopkeeper how much it costs. The first thing to say to a shopkeeper is, affedersiniz. Do you remember what that means? Excuse me. Affedersiniz. Bu kaç para? Affedersiniz. Bu kaç para? If you want to be more specific when asking, how much is this? You can either point out the object or show it. If you're holding the item, you probably should use this. Bu. Affedersiniz. Bu kaç para? However, if you're pointing out the item, that would be more suitable. Affedersiniz. Şu kaç para? At this point, the shopkeeper can answer by saying bu, şu, or o, and then the price. For example, bu 21 lira. Şu 21 lira. Or o 21 lira. What number is 21? I'm not telling you. Okay. It's 21. It costs 21 liras. Now, it's time for Zehra's insights. A quicker way to ask how much is ne kadar, which literally means how much. For example, bir espresso, ne kadar? One espresso, how much?
Herkese merhaba. Ben Seda. Welcome to turkishclass101.com. Nasılsınız? Keyfiniz yerinde mi? Today we will talk about 10 street foods in Turkey. Yummy! I have another video about where I talk about Turkish food. You can check it out in the channel. But today we will be focusing on the street food only. Okay? We are as a country in the middle of Balkans, Mediterranean, and the Middle East. So we have how should I put it, variety of cultural impact, and this affects our food culture as well. And Turkey is also surrounded by sea on three sides. So it's almost like an island. It also affects a variety of food. And today we have 10 food. And there's no order in my list. Some of them are cooked meals, some of them are like snacks, but the common thing is they can be all found in the streets. Okay, let's start. Number 1, midye dolma or midye tava. Actually, these are two different things, both made of the same seafood mussels. Midye dolma is stuffed mussel, and midye tava is deep fried mussel. And midye dolma is served in the shell. I'm not sure how it is actually made, but there are certain herbs with cooked rice and mixed with some herbs. I think they put it in the mussel, and they close the shell and clean it and prepare it and put it back with the herbs and rice, something like that. I'm not sure. And then they close the shell, and before you eat it, you open the shell and you use the shell as a spoon, I think, and you put a lot of lemons on it, and I think the acid in the lemon cooks it. And midye tava is pre-cooked. Tava actually means pan. The pan you cook stuff in it. And again, I'm not sure the exact recipe, but they cover the mussel with some kind of flour before deep frying it. And they put mussels in a stick and it's like a shish kebab, and they fry it with the sticks, and they serve it with a special sauce called taratar sosu, and you dip the mussels in the sauce and eat it. Love it. I don't like midye dolma thing, but I love midye tava a lot. Midye dolma is too raw for my taste, and since it is a seafood, you wouldn't find this. You would find this in the seasides of Turkey, not in the cities deep in the country. Like, I don't know if in Ankara, for example, they sell midye tava or midye dolma. Anyway, let's move on. Number 2 is nohutlu pilav. Nohutlu pilav. Rice with chickpeas. This street food always makes me laugh because it is so, home cooked kind of a meal. And a regular home meal, I mean, the ingredients are cheap, it's filling and loved by so many people. So someone thought, why not turn this into a street food business? And it worked actually. And the funny thing, you would see these in the carts, like small food carts and windows in the carts. And Google nohut pilav arabası and you will see what I mean. And the pilav is generally at the bottom and the chickpeas are on the top, and they serve it with a plastic plate or something, and you eat it at the side of the road, generally standing up. And I point this out because it's like a regular family meal, but you eat it in the street like this. And the third one is our famous simit. And I think this is the most common street food of all. And it is called gevrek in Izmir area. It's like a bagel that I can say everybody loves in Turkey. I haven't literally met one person who ever said, no, pass, I don't like simit. I've never heard of it. And I will give you guys a link for a recipe here if you want to make it yourself. And it's made with dough and grape molasses and crunchy sesame seeds. You can buy it anywhere in Turkey, but I don't know anywhere else. And if you ever visit Istanbul, you'll definitely see people throwing simit to the seagulls in the ferries. Even seagulls love the simit, And number 4 is döner. Döner. I think this is famous and known to a lot of people because döner kebab is all over the world. And it's made with meat, generally red meat, but now they are making it with chicken as well. And it is cut and put it vertically on a stick, and doner meat is put, in a special doner bread, and pickles and stuff they put in it. And it's so good actually, and so fast because it's pre-cooked. And when I was a kid, there were, McDonald's, Burger King, those kind of restaurants was so new, and the American fast food restaurants, and it always surprises me how those kind of restaurants made it to Turkey, where we have faster and tastier doner stores everywhere and tons of different meatball stores like köfte. I don't get it. Anyway, let's see what is next. Number 5 is kestane kebab, chestnut kebab. It's not a kebab, we just call it kestane kebab. And we have a saying, kestane kebap yemesi sevap. Kestane kebap yemesi sevap. It's like chestnut kebab. To eat it is to do good deeds, and it doesn't make any sense in English. I know. This is a simple but most delish snack during winter time. They have again some kind of cart and some kind of grill on the cart, and they get the raw chestnuts and they cut it, not cut but like scar it on the shell, and they cook it on the grill, and that's it, it cooks. And they put it in a paper bag and give it to you, and you just hold it in your hand like this, especially during cold days. It's so nice to hold the warm bag in your hands and eat the chestnut while walking. You should try it. And the next one, number 6, right? Number 6 is toast, grilled cheese sandwich. This is one of the most famous food in Turkey. It's one of the easiest, I can say. You just put cheese or different things between two pieces of bread and toast it, and add some butter and toast it. And voila, it's ready. And there are different kinds of toasts in Turkey. We have kaşarlı toast, regular cheese, çift kaşarlı toast, like double cheese toast, and peynir, beyaz peynirli domatesli with feta cheese and tomatoes. Sucuklu toast. Sucuk is something meaty, Turkish meat, some kind of Turkish meat. Ayvalık toastu, it's mixed with a lot of things. You should check it out in Google. You can just Google it, Ayvalık toastu. And you eat these with either ayran, yogurt drink, or like ince belli bardakta çay, a tea in a regular Turkish glass. Okay, now we got to the number 7. Number 7 is something I cannot eat actually, but very famous and loved by many. It is kokoreç. Kokoreç. It is made of lamb intestine, kuzu bağırsağı. It looks like a side döner when they are cooking it. They put a lot of herbs to kill the intestine taste and cook it like a döner thing, and cut it in small pieces, and they put it in bread, and voila, it's a sandwich. It's too much for me, but if you're up to it, you should know that it's one of the most famous street food in Turkey. Let's move on to the next one, number 8. Balık ekmek. Literally fish and bread, but fish sandwich. This is especially common in the seaside area, mostly in Eminönü, Istanbul. Eminönü is the old city where all the touristic things are going on. And the fish that is used in this dish is generally mackerel. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Uskumru in Turkish. And they add some green onions and some greens and fish and bread. That's it. It's simple enough to enjoy the seaside. And the next one, our number 9, is börek. It's something that you cannot just translate it. It's like a patty, something like a patty. We have different types, varieties of Turkish börek. It is always accessible. It can be made with veggies, mincemeat, cheese, and they sell them in the carts in the streets or in restaurants, patisseries, and everywhere you can find börek. And our number 10 is kumpir, something like a baked potato, type of a baked potato. The dish is especially famous in Ortaköy, Istanbul, but can be found in anywhere. They get these huge potatoes and they put them in the ovens and cook it. But they have kind of a salad bar. You choose ingredients from that salad bar. Then when the potato is ready, they just open it and mix it with butter and cheese, the inside of the potato, and make a hole. And you choose the ingredients from the salad bar and they add it and after that on top of the potato, and you eat it with a spoon. It goes on like this. It becomes a huge thing. And that's it. That was our top 10 list. And I can say one extra street food, çiğ köfte. It's raw meatball. It's also a good street food. It is called raw meatball because it is made with raw minced meat. But now it's a little different. You have to be a restaurant to serve a raw meat because it's not sanitary and safe to make it on the streets, and it's not easy to keep. So it's not raw, of course. It's just cooked with herbs and onions, or in other words, it's cooked by acid instead of heat. Anyway, since it's not allowed to sell the uncooked meat in the street, they sell the vegan version of it. Instead of meat, they substitute it with the bulgur wheat, and it interestingly tastes the same. Yeah, I mean, I don't, catch the difference. So I guess that's it, guys. We have a lot of street foods, And hope you enjoy the lesson, and please leave some comments. Have you ever tasted these street foods? Do you like them? Did you like them? Or you can also make these home. You can just search for the recipes, and I'm sure you will find a lot of recipes in Turkish, and you would, how should I say, it would be a good practice for your Turkish, to find Turkish recipes and cook them. Okay, I will see you next time. Görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description. When learning a new language, everyone should have an ultimate goal to work towards. Whether you want to be able to connect with a relative, easily order food while traveling, or go somewhere new, having an end goal for your learning can be very motivating. A popular but challenging goal is being able to speak like a native speaker. It's difficult to measure exactly when you reach this goal, and it's not something you can pick up using textbooks alone. So how do you work on making your speech more natural? That's what we're going to look at today. Here are 3 tips to help you practice talking like a native speaker. Number 1, focus on vocabulary. If your goal is to speak like a native, you might be really focused on speaking quickly or using as many complex grammar patterns as possible. But in our native languages, we're not always trying to speak as fast as possible, and we use complex grammar patterns when necessary, not to show off. Vocabulary, however, is extremely important to expressing ourselves naturally. Your choice of words can reveal a lot about you and your understanding of the language. Most learners have had the experience of using a phrasebook or a dictionary to find a word they want to use, trying the word in conversation, and getting a look of confusion from the native speaker. In some cases, although your word choice may be grammatically correct, the word may be inappropriate for the situation or totally unnatural. This is especially important in business and other formal situations, where the right level of formality and professionalism is key. Being able to understand nuances in vocabulary words can also help you understand relationships between people just by listening to the conversation. Try to listen to many different types of conversations. Listen to how people talk to their friends, their superiors, and in customer service situations. This will give you a better idea of how to talk to others naturally. In some languages, you can omit words from sentences or use more direct communication styles. It's important to be aware of these things so you can apply them yourself. Colloquialisms and slang are also commonly used in most languages. As this sort of vocabulary is always evolving, it can be difficult to keep up with the latest words. Talk with native speakers and consume media in your target language to make sure you pick up these kinds of expressions. Media is a great resource for your learning. Ultimately, knowing the appropriate vocabulary to use for each situation will really help you sound more knowledgeable. Number 2, perfect your accent. With every language, there are unique pronunciation and intonation challenges. Some languages are tonal languages, and a change in pitch can completely change the meaning of a word. Then there's the fact that most countries have multiple dialects, and so people from one area of the country may sound different from those in another. So what is the best way to listen to a wide range of accents and different pronunciations? Video and audio resources are a great way to do this. YouTube is a perfect place to start because people from all kinds of different backgrounds upload videos to the platform. You can watch educational videos, daily life vlogs, cooking shows, a travel series, whatever interests you. Pay attention to the different ways people speak. Everyone is unique. And then practice speaking like them. This kind of practice can help you sound more natural. One note, please be aware of the type of resources you're using. For example, if you find a video where a speaker uses a rare dialect, it might not be a good idea to use that for your pronunciation practice, unless you have a special reason for studying a specific accent. As a general rule, it's best to try to search for practice resources that use a standard form of the language you're studying. Number 3, copy what you hear. Do you remember how you learned to speak as a child? We rarely learned new words just listening to them, or reading after we learned how. When we were little kids, we imitated the sounds we heard by repeating the sounds out loud. While you're talking to a friend, watching videos, or listening to audio in your target language, you can do this to try and replicate the way they speak. Doing this will help you work on mastering the flow of the language, your accent, intonation, and pronunciation. Of course, you might also pick up some new vocabulary this way. Make sure to repeat new words often. It's a great way to make sure you remember them. Try doing this using a number of different mediums and sources. That way, you'll be exposed to the diversity that the language offers and master the fundamentals of pronunciation. For example, you can watch and imitate several different YouTube videos and audio CDs, but try a few different sources, like different creators or different audio types, to make sure you experience a wide range of communication in your target language. If you're using our language learning program, you can even get your own teacher with Premium Plus. Your teacher can answer questions, give assignments, and even listen to your recordings and give you advice on pronunciation. Completing these kinds of lessons with a native teacher can really boost your confidence in your speaking skills. Becoming able to speak like a native is a popular goal for many people learning a new language. It feels great to be able to communicate smoothly, especially when the people you're talking to expect basic level sentences or broken communication. Try using the tips we've shared in this video to work on improving your speaking skills. Of course, it'll take time and persistence, but the reward will be more natural communication. And for even more tips on speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Turkish ebook before it's gone.